Okay, hello everyone. This is the last day we have left. The choice has to be made. So this is going to be the last Clara stream. We're going to finish it off today. This playthrough has taken way too long, so it will be great to have it finished. So what we're going to do today, the basic plan is to, well, firstly, not starve to death, obviously, but then also circle around everyone's houses, particularly Clara's bound here, and we basically are just going to, enjoy the last bit of the game in relative peace and relaxation, take it easy. I'll be streaming for about an hour and a half.
There's
So
great ability in knowing how to conceal one's ability.
see if anyone's got anything
We find
to
very
say
few
at the end of the day.
ungrateful people when we are able to confer favors.
I would have no future if not for you. The cause that I serve could fail without me. Thank you. So what kind of future is destined for you? So I think every utopian will have the same dialogue, if I remember correctly. If you're not playing as the Bachelor, every utopian will have the same dialogue. So you can tell this is kind of generic in a sense. So the town will be rebuilt. We will transfer it to the other side of the river. The land is clean there. Nobody will disturb us. The polyhedron will become the foundation of a new settlement, just like the abattoir had become one for the Doom settlement, and a new era will set in. And you can say, I'm afraid this time will never come. We are too few now. I won't succeed by myself, of course. Every person counts. Do you know how many of us have survived? Hello, Yavayost. How you doing? I don't know. At least you won't die, and I don't care about the rest. So we really are after Clara's ending, because I've already shown off Bachelor's ending before on stream. What do we have left to eat? We do have some food, but not very much, so we might have to break into some houses. But we got 10 lockpicks, so that's alright. And our reputation is steadily going down still, but I don't think at this stage that really matters. So we're gonna just do a circuit of town, probably starting with Lara, and we'll talk to everybody and just sort of really get a sense for the finality of day 12. I think it's good that the game sort of lets all that tension sort of dissipate almost. The real calm before the final decision is, I think, better than still sprinting, back and forth. Now you sort of get this time to really think about the ending decision that you could make. The only thing that restricts it, of course, is that you have to have played really well to be allowed to make these decisions. So I didn't get enough Panacea and Schmelders just because that wasn't really my goal while I was analysing and stuff. But it is slightly frustrating. But one of the design decisions, of course, you're rewarded for exceptional play. I bow to thee, mistress of the earth. What's on your mind, Lara? Oh, nothing really. Tell me, how much life-giving blood will you be able to make from me? How many doses will it be? No less than 150, I believe, and according to Ruben, anything up to 500. Oh, that's a lot. Even in a lifetime of relentless activity, I could never have saved or created that many people. Lara, why you too? How did you of all people end up among the wicked? Self-sacrifice is something one must go about competently. I was incompetent. That's just nonsense. Simon failed too, that's why you're making the decisions and not him. Or are you him now? Are you raving? No one is more similar than you and Simon. Even we, the bound, are mere playthings, while you are humans, with a capital H, such as I could never have given birth to, even if I had got married. So, we're getting this fourth wall breaking stuff here at the end, particularly in Changeling's playthrough. characters realizing sort of the hierarchy of things, that the player is still the one ultimately moving and shaking the world with their decisions, even as the game's simulatory elements and narrative try to destabilize you and make it feel as though you're living in a world that's reacting to you. Did you want to? Sort of. Not really, but I'd often think about it at night. No point in hiding my sins anymore, but that was all a pipe dream. Go ahead, do what you must. Poor thing. I'm so sorry for you. I wouldn't want to carry your burden. Terrifying to bear, yet it would be wrong to refuse it. Please, that's no sin at all. You deserve solace. And I think that's all we can get from her. We can have this conversation again. Rue not what is to come, for it is a blessing. Circle around to Yulia now. So yeah, it is, I think, interesting. As far as I understand, as many video games do seem to start, or as some video games seem to start, I'm pretty sure Pathologic first took shape on the tabletop, if I remember correctly, or something similar. There was a conception of it as a game to be played with other people, and so transposing it into video game form by necessity gives us some really interesting sort of juxtapositions of agency and all these kinds of questions, because in a tabletop game, agency is relatively unquestioned unless you're playing with a particularly bad game master or whoever, or storyteller. There's supposed to be this imaginative leeway that the game gives you, whereas in a video game, every action has to have a reaction that's hard-coded in some way. So it's interesting to consider how video games allow us to inscribe agency with our choices and chart this path through a narrative that doesn't even seem predetermined, really. It's certainly very interesting.
What?
Bow to thee, mistress of the earth. Do you have any parting words for me? You're an observer of people, so what do your calculations indicate? Wait, give yourself a moment's pause. Are you sure you want to know what my research has yielded? You see, whether or not you take my calculations seriously, the moment you learn the results, you will have no choice but to act them out. This is merely my way of seeing the matter, though. So what do you say? Would you like to set off this tripwire of mine? I do. It won't do me any harm, in my humble opinion. Very, very funny. You remain an indefinite value. As such, you have walked the road that lies behind you. Your refusal to be categorized was your strongest weapon. However, this advantage will be stripped from you as soon as you permutate into a constant. And frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens before the day is over. What kind of a value will you become? That's the only actual choice you have. And here again we have Pathologic framing itself. Yulia as a character framing Pathologic as an algorithm, as a machine. This permutation into a constant as the narrative ends, as our involvement in the narrative finishes. The game no longer becomes a game, it becomes a narrative with a fixed ending. We are no longer making decisions after this final decision that we get to make as to what ending we receive. And it's really very clever. And then, of course, Clara can respond, I'm not Constance, I'm Clara. Is it weird that talking to Yulia gives me more of a headache than the Canes? I know the Canes are incoherent more often than not, but at least they don't write paragraphs in hashtag general. I know what you mean. She's kind of hard to wrap your head around. She also likes to use big fancy words and flex how smart she is, I think, which is part of what makes talking to her so confronting or confusing. Hi, Constance. This is of no importance. Don't try to translate your perplexity into a language that is legible to us. Cease this wordplay of yours. Didn't you see everyone disappear? You won't see anything but raw vectors now, lines along which your effort may be applied. So again, this is what all these conversations are about, but particularly this one, I think it's really good conversation. It's just reinforcing the algorithmic themes, the very nature of what a video game is being acknowledged in Yulia's eyes here. So everyone's disappeared. There's no one on the streets. There's only these raw vectors, these few single straightforward pathways. That's all that's left to us now. Why did our paths cross, Yulia? Why are you one of the criminals and the wicked? I don't qualify as wicked, but you can call me criminal, in a way. Just don't conflate the two. You see, I am of the opinion that it was your duty to end us. Didn't I just tell you there are no people anymore? Symbols are all that we have left. We all represent opportunities that you have missed. The 9 ways to get swallowed by the deadly quagmire. And this, I think symbols, I mean, that's what attracts me to a lot of, well, I was going to say horror games, but a lot of fiction in general. My mind just happens to work automatically at these kinds of things. Hey, Brainiac, nice grammar mistake, idiot. Yeah, you could hear me hesitate there. And Clara's response again is to be confused. What? You should be grateful to me for having replaced you. Otherwise it would have been you, and not me, to rot in this desolate place I am consigned to. You would have been left hanging by your strings. You wanted to rule over people's fates too. I understand. So yeah, I think obviously, and not in every game would a move like this work, where you're stripping away all the extra stuff and talking in fairly plain, uncertain terms about the nature of the thing that you're playing. But obviously, in Pathologic, that's what the entire game is about. Is really about the artifice of narrative and the artifice of games, and really figuring out how we reconcile enjoyment of fiction with the time that we spend on it. Because this game, as I've said, is all about time. And choosing, I think as I said last time, choosing what you spend time on is supremely important. And a lot of people, I think, feel cheated, they get the powers that be ending. I was crushed, I was really depressed, so none of it was real. But the realization is that it doesn't matter that it isn't real, because I was enjoying it, and on some level I knew that it wasn't real. It's the fact that the game is so immersive that it even allows you to get into that headspace in the first place. It's really remarkable. Katerina?
If there's enough people like me, the town will stay the same. We'll surrender ourselves to Clara, unregretted. A rotten life belongs to the new mistress.
So Clara's not going to have a good time, according to Katerina. I bow to thee, mistress of the earth. For as long as you're alive, you'll remain the mistress. It's I who bow to you. Heed my final advice, dear daughter. Be smart. Don't repeat my mistakes. You will not be alone here. Maria is ascending to the fullness of her powers, right now, at the same time as you, whilst Capella, the tardy one, that's a bit unfair, will take a few more years to awaken. Do you understand what this means? No, not quite. What? It is funny how the sandbox ending really does hurt more than any of your inevitable failures throughout the story. I was reading a screenplay the whole time and didn't even know it. Yeah, it really is amazing, I think, that the game is able to pull that off. I mean, it's a real miracle. There are so many other games. You can just imagine, like, games where you didn't get so immersed, or games that weren't building up its themes strongly enough, and then it's, at the end, someone steps out and says, "Oh, it's just a game." It's really something remarkable that any video game was able to pull off a twist like this. And yeah, Pathologic really does deserve its place, I think, as my favourite game. really something incredibly special. And yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Reading a screenplay the whole time and didn't even know it. As you play a game, I think that illusion of choice, right? We often get swept up in the choices and the level of agency we have in a game. And I think at a certain point, there's this the quest for a perfect game where you can do anything and everything, and people are looking at AI as the possibility to have an infinitely reactive game. But there's nothing interesting about a game that isn't made by actual human beings with consistent choice and consequence and thought. For me, I think the way that Pathologic does it, as all the pieces slowly fall into place and you realise how trapped and constrained you are, yet you still play on, you still play by the game's rules, or you try and break those rules, as we discussed last time, and really master the systems. Without those really considered elements of human design, Pathologic wouldn't be anywhere near as cool and as special, I think. A period of your antagonism with Maria is beginning. Along what lines will it be? Which of you will be the good one? Which one wicked? Will it be up to the Canes once again to determine the meaning of good and evil? How are you to take the good path if Maria doesn't choose the evil one? Why divide everything into good and evil right away? Could that have been your mistake? Our mistake? That was what I thought when I chose my own dark path. I thought the conflict was not between good and evil, that neither good nor evil existed. That wasn't true, for it is in the nature of humans to translate even a dichotomy of red and green into the language of good battling evil. We are doomed to make choices, and there's a lot of truth to that one as well. The fact that we can make a narrative out of anything, and we can turn basically any narrative into conflict. I mean, that's what humans are very good at doing, generating conflict. We seem attracted to it in some way. There's something compelling about the drama of a conflict, especially a massive struggle between, existential struggle between good and evil, one side or the other. And that's really what a lot of horror games are about, is confronting ultimate evil or something totally abject, as I've discussed before. There's something that compels us as human beings to enjoy those stories, but we also have to really recognize how harmful those stories have the potential to be. But did you really choose evil? I now think I did. Nina could control it at the time, and I couldn't. Nor was Nina wearing the black tiara. But don't put your trust in what is more alluring, more attractive. That is usually where evil lies. Funnily enough, I think I discussed that a little bit last time, right? People gravitate towards characters who look cool and have cool one-liners and easy answers. And that's where most people's opinion seems to stop at times, if we're not thinking critically about a work. That can be the really alluring thing about that kind of narrative, is you look at the super good guy versus the super evil guy, and you say, well, the super good guys, obviously who I'm going to side with, but even in grayer narratives, where there's this character who's meant to be, untrustworthy or not very nice, if you put him in a cool costume and give him some cool lines, that seems to be all it takes sometimes. Yet I'd still like to ask about my sister. Did she exist, or didn't she, back then, a week ago? What kind of answer would you like me to give? I'd like to know which one of us you loved more, You, daughter. You. Goodbye, mother. I think it's interesting the level of emotion actually that goes into some of these conversations, and most of the time we just don't see them or get to experience them. They're tucked away right at the end of the last character's story, so it's nice I'm able to showcase these. I bow to thee, mistress of the earth. I'm not yet sure I want to accept that title. A mistress is not a title. Once you have crossed a certain line, you become the person everything hinges upon. How you will use this gift is a different matter, but you are no longer in a position to refuse it. So what disposition are you going to make of our town? Do you have any parting advice to give me? You are truly a saint. Or could my reason be so clouded with grief that I fail to hear the sarcasm in your voice? No, I wouldn't want to think so. Do you really want to hear a few behests from me? I was joking, of course. You'd probably be no better as an advisor than you were as a ruler. No, since he's going to die at the end of today, we'll be nice, shall we? Yes, I'll do what you weren't able to, Father. After all, the adverse fortunes that marred your brief tenure as a ruler were quite extraordinary. Then I'll be concise. First, find someone among the Kanes or the Olgimskis on whom you could rely as on yourself. Let them preside over the Bull project. Let them send reports to the capital. Metropolitan bureaucrats are the greatest menace. They doze off when the freight trains arrive on schedule, but wake up the moment something goes wrong. Why is that a threat for us? They will not let us build our life in the way it was intended. The brittle magic of our community will be trampled underfoot. Our erstwhile blissful existence will be irrevocably gone. Everything will be completely different. New people will arrive, and the deadening power of the state will lay down its own law here. Do not let that happen, as we didn't let it happen before. Will I be able to do it? You'll do fine. You'll devote yourself to other things. You'll be spinning your yarn. While your chosen regent must be cunning, he must learn to mislead them, to mask our distinctiveness. He must not let them redevelop the northeast line any further east than the Gorkon estuary. He must be cautious. I understand, Father. You're tired. You need some rest now. Yeah, there's this real profundity, I think, to this game. Just really simple, well, what I see as simple truths about human nature tied up in these innocuous conversations, tied up in the language of this game, really, the movement and the rhythm and the gameplay mechanics, all encourage a real humanness. I think there's a lot that's thoroughly inspiring about this game. A lot of fiendishly clever stuff going on, and you just sort of want to savor these closing moments, really.
My path was called the Angel of Death. I'm not sure myself what I used to be in the caravan. Life is hard.
Look at me, Anna. You're afraid, aren't you? Look at me, Clara. Why did I chance to cross your path? What do you think? Could it be so that I could sing an ode to fear and give you a vivid example of what that leads to? Why are you talking like that all of a sudden? What's the matter with you? Or is someone hiding behind that curtain over there? I am an embodiment of fear. I live in a world that's made of fear entirely. I may not have become a singer, but I've become the voice of fear. And fear has an unpleasant voice. Shrill, whiny, capricious, utterly unmusical. So if you're like that, why did our paths cross? Probably to prevent you from becoming like me. A voice, an entrancing voice, sweet as a dream and beckoning is what you and I have in common. Do you understand? That's where we intersect. Not the caravan, not at all. Forget the caravan. You, on the other hand, won't stop thinking about it. You're hiding something, Anna. You're still hiding something. What is this caravan? How did it get here? Ask the powers that be. You've paid them a visit already, haven't you? They'll tell you what the plague is for and what the caravan is for. It's their games. Fair enough. Which means it's not all that important in the end. So, is it going to hurt a lot? When is it my turn? Would you like to be the first or the last? Last. Or not. I suppose it's better to get it all over with at once. No, wait. I'll tell you later, alright? Better still, just sneak in unnoticed sometime. Will you? Maybe it's better if we do it this way? Goodbye, Anna. Can't imagine that so many people would have played through the whole game at the snail's pace you walk at if the game didn't offer as much to think over as it does. I think that's really the important thing, is that the game's narrative and writing supports the gameplay in such a way, not just in terms of integration of themes, but just those themes having so much to mull over in your decisions, even if they don't have necessarily a lot of weight in the moment. I think there's still a lot to think about relating to human nature and really what we want to get out of the games that we play. I think there's this sort of constant question in Pathologic really is how far do we take a story, and how invested in it do we need to be really to get enjoyment out of a story like this. And I think that moment when the powers that be reveal what's going on is sort of snapping you back to reality, shattering that immersion, and that's when the game is asking you this question. But as you say, Yavios, it's not just that final moment, it's constant, just a barrage of moments like that, just constantly just asking you all of these really important, integral questions. Just never seems to end. Which is why you can just wander around the town aimlessly, like deep in thought, or just stand and stare out at the step or something. Because it is a slow game, but it almost needs to be a slow game to let the writing sink in, to let you think about it properly.
It's better not to ask. Silence is golden.
I bow to you, Mistress of the Earth. Well, sister, it's time to say our farewells. So it is. Can't say I'm not glad. Why? Everybody's glad to see me. What could possibly make me glad to see you? You're my more successful rival. You have become what I couldn't. I'm jealous of you. There's nothing to be jealous about, silly. I've gone from a saint to a priestess of blood, a miraculous meat grinder. Oh yes, I wanted it to be me. Me striding across the town in triumph. Me going from house to house, carrying death on my black wings. Me choosing who deserves retribution. An enviable role, that. But look what I've become instead. A slave to the kin, a household familiar, a keeper of relics. Isn't it something to be proud of? I was saving the seat of power for a worthy successor, but I couldn't save that successor's subjects. You've killed them. I've saved who I could, and I will save even more. Come on, what's done is done. It's not like one could choose one's fate retroactively, or change that part of it which has already been fulfilled. One could, I can. That's what these things called miracles are about. It knows when to be slow and when to be fast, for sure, though, absolutely. The plague is thrust upon you very abruptly, but your character never quite shakes off their love of gentle strolls. No. I feel like the speed of the walking gives the town like the sense of scale that it needs. I mean, if you could run or move much faster than this, I don't think the town would necessarily feel as real or as dangerous. I think the movement speed is really perfectly considered, to be honest. But there are all these, you're right, in that there are all these circumstances that are changing constantly, and that's even more true in Pathologic 2, I think, where the market fluctuates even more rapidly and the reputation meter is leveraged as a tool against you somewhat more frequently, I think, in the second one. But this still does happen a lot in the first one too, particularly as you can see my reputation's still slowly ticking down there. I think I'll have to break into a house to get some food at some point. So we're just going to go see Oyen here, just if you're wondering where I'm going. Can't forget him. He's the character I often forget. In fact, I feel like I forgot to talk to him when I first did Clara's playthrough. At the very end, I think I would say, I can't be bothered walking through the abattoir again. See if we can go in here even, in the first place. Presume we can. Promising. Cool. Alright, in we go. I think, yeah, like, a lot of people complain about the pacing of this game, and to an extent, like, I mean, a lot of things that people criticize in a game, often it's, I find it's down to expectation. Like if someone's expecting a certain kind of pace, I feel like they're more likely to sort of lash out at the game and be frustrated with sort of how I move too slow, but there's also too much happening and the plague clouds are sort of everywhere, and there's this interesting fusion Slow walking and uninviting urban structure certainly succeed in building up your curiosity and imagination. Can't imagine the town would feel quite as fascinating or overwhelming without it. No, I think that's what the town needs as well, is the ability to move slowly through it, and the affordance to actually maybe not stop and stare at some of these things, because time should always be ticking as well. It's an important part of the game, but the ability to go down the same street over and over again at the same pace and really enjoy immersing yourself in this new environment. Like, you can't stop moving, but you also really want to stop moving. You want to stop and soak it in. And I feel like that's part of what makes Pathologic so intoxicating, is the ever moving time.
If there's enough people like me, the town will stay the same. We'll surrender ourselves to Clara unregretted. A rotten life belongs to the new mistress.
And you, Foreman Wherein, why have you crossed my path? It's no coincidence, I know. I am a monster, mistress, a chimera. You were right when you called such human-like, double-natured beings demons. It is good you'll destroy me with your magic hands. The evil that I stand for will go down with me. It's unnatural to be double-natured. Your grandfather was a bull, wasn't he? True. You can see yourself that my bloodline must be terminated. Evil channels through me, as it does through your counterparts. Someone dark had been stirring behind their backs before you came along and took charge. Now that dark soul is no longer with them, and you want to drive them out. Don't let them loose. Have no fear, I won't. Just going to see if that other dialogue option... That was a quick and easy surrender for someone so strong. I've always known I would bow down to no man. Yes, everything points to this being her at whose hands I shall be dealt my doom. Small, frail, young. This is what a true mistress of the earth looks like. That's good. It's good that meeting me has curbed your pride. It's not a very long conversation, given the distance we have to walk to see him, but still a good one nonetheless. But yeah, I'm really... I don't know, it's always a point of interest for me, even just the movement speed that the developers give a character, because that really does... It dictates so much of a player's experience. If a player is moving slowly through an environment, you have to think about why the developer thought that was appropriate. And considering everything else in Pathologic is so thought through and so well designed, it's not hard to see that there'd be purpose and thought that's gone into making you move at the pace that you do. Despite how slow the pacing is overall, it never feels like enough to truly take in everything around you. It's like an accident happening right in front of you at all times. That's a really perfect way of putting it, I think. That there's always something new and horrible to react to. That you just end up feeling like that guy. You're just constantly like running into walls. And really struggling with what the game is asking of you, despite how, or even because of how slow you're moving. This sort of meditative pace, where you're thinking about, what it means to be human and what it means to play games and tell stories. All of these really fascinating questions. And then just at the same time, there are just so many confronting things and systems you have to master on your first time through. It's really quite something to have this fusion of gameplay speeds or narrative speeds working alongside each other. I think that's a really important thing to observe, actually, so thank you for indulging this conversation. He just wants to leave the game so he can write his negative review with 0.3 hours playtime already. Yeah, too slow, dialogue too long, graphics ugly, big red, thumb down. Seems to be how it goes sometimes. Yeah, I still remember those, some of those misguided reviews from the release of Pathologic 2 that were just, there's only 1 out of 3 campaigns in this game. It's incomplete. The original game has 3 campaigns, and I'm sort of sitting there like, did you play through Pathologic 2? Because there's so much interesting stuff going on here. You can't just give it a thumbs down because the game doesn't have 2 playable characters. As disappointing or as hard as it is to wait for this amount of time, I should go see Ruben actually. I won't walk past the warehouse district, but it's interesting people can so easily dismiss all the interesting parts of a game for some really petty reason. Just very, very interesting. Alright, hello Ruben. What? Tell me, what's it going to be like when, the time comes? Do you want the exact details? I'm going to have to settle down here, aren't I? Locke is inviting you to come along. He'd like to take you away with his army, right? That's not the issue. But you can be in both places at once, can't you? Such is your nature. You'll stay here with us forever, and at the same time you'll go to war, alongside Block and his army. Your nature could easily allow there to be 2 of you. You're talking about spiritual grace, right? Whereas I'm talking about myself. Well then, this is how I see it. We will be vigilant at all times. As soon as there's a new outbreak somewhere, we will board up that house at once, or that district if need be. Thankfully it can be done, given the peculiar town planning here. My master did that 5 years ago. The observation that the plague is restricted to district borders, just like an infection could be restricted to a single body part at once. Again, fitting with the really biological metaphor of the town. I would agree that Pathologic 2 is unfinished, actually. Yeah, so it is. But I don't think that's an actual problem. The game is still more than worth its price. And yeah, Haruspex Lodge have stated several times that Dankovsky and Clara will be free updates. Yeah, I know they've refused. People have offered, you should start another Patreon or Kickstarter campaign. And I said, no, it'll be ready when it's ready. We don't want to take anyone else's money for Dankovsky and Clara. And you got to respect that. I think that even if Pathologic 2 is unfinished, it's not a reason to give the game a thumbs down in the slightest. I don't think. There's so much interesting stuff going on in it, and so much gameplay and replayability, really, that it's really remarkable. A really great game. You will immediately pick someone from among your bound, and what if they refuse to become a donor? They won't. Once they've given consent, they'll stay true to their word, or else our being bound would amount to nothing. So you think all I have to do is just lay my hands on them once and it will be done? I don't think once will be enough, and you'll have to do it in public to avoid rumours and speculations. At any rate, I'll make the extracts and see what happens. We'll try this and that. Ugh, that sounds a bit too mechanical, for lack of a better word. Or, alright Stark, I've understood your plan. You're going to have to be the last in that chain. So we'll save Stark to last, because he seems to really be the orchestrator behind the... So it sounds like a ritual, really, that Clara has to perform, more than any kind of medical procedure. So again, linking in with spirituality and mysticism, that's really at the heart of her campaign, the astral bodies and stuff that I pointed out last time.
If there's enough people like me, the town will stay the same. We will surrender ourselves to Clara unrepentant. A rotten life belongs to the new mistress.
So you can see that everyone mostly has the same voice line. A rotten life belongs to the new mistress. This understanding. Yes, playable Russian literature. Perfect Steam review, just found it right now. I think it's a fairly accurate descriptor. Obviously not the whole truth, but perhaps close enough for a snappy one-liner. But this repeated voice line, I think, sort of echoing, and it would also play for the other characters as well. So if you approached Bad Grief as the Bachelor, you would get this one-line summary of really how unenviable Clara's position is. I think that she is having to sacrifice these people to maintain this unnatural chimera of a town, really, and that the people who live in it, the extraordinary people who kind of make the town what it is, in a sense, are the ones who have to pay to preserve the place. I bow to thee, not out of fear, I hope, out of love, little tot, pure love, all white and crunchy, like freshly starched linen and all. Come on, think about it. Who do I got to go fearing? No one. For, as you've most correctly guessed, I ain't feared barley too. And the fear, you'd asked? Just for show. Although I do fear myself, I suppose. That's true. We have no one to fear except ourselves. Back then, you see, you figured out the sheer scale of my nastiness. Just how much of a villain I was, didn't you? Then you just froze in place, and my heart sank, and I thought, so much for ever being forgiven. That's a little tot that's going to condemn me. But you didn't. You forgave me, and I was never the same again. I'd be happy to give my life for you now. I swear to God in my own accord. Happy? Honestly? You won't find a more faithful servant from now on, no ma'am, for I have repented. All my cutthroats would die for you too. What is your command, mistress? My life for you. Me? Becoming like Simon. Could I have even imagined? But even the old man could never become someone like you. Please, stop talking like that. Eh? Who are we when you come to think about it? What are we? Bunch of walking corpses we are, condemned to death the moment we're born. Bunch of dolls in the hands of the powers that be, eh? And you, too. You're the real humans. But he, Simon, was a proud human, you see. 'Twas for our sake that he'd made himself into what he was. And you, holy dove, you have surpassed him. For our sake as well. Have I really? We don't know that yet. This is a televangelist's deepest fantasy. So that's what Clara is. I understand now. Clara the televangelist. Have I seen everyone? Yes, Reuben, Aspity, Yulia. Yes, I think I've seen everyone. So what we're going to do is break into a house, steal some food, and then sleep until we get the call to the cathedral. We'll see if we can... Maybe we can wrangle Schmada, but certainly haven't been very lucky this campaign so far. But no, there's this, that's the other thread that runs through Clara's campaign is, despite all the fourth wall breaking, she's leading all of these characters to their deaths. Can't be a real televangelist since she bankrolls Christian terrorist groups in Africa. Not Clara, surely not. She wouldn't do that. Can trust Clara to be nice, right? Nothing in there. I do like that there's a lot of reluctance in Clara's voice, I think. A lot of shock and even sort of dismay. People are talking like that to her. Nothing. Not bothered by me stealing that, huh? Just wander through. Hello. Yeah, I took 2 coins from your cabinet, your care and fear. I'm the world's most ruthless robber. Hello, do you have Schmauder? Nope. Why does no one have Schmauder in this playthrough? 38 lemons. We are on a roll. Water. Bunch of these. We're rolling in lemons. Do you have anything to trade? Do you know how to play reflections? You don't seem like an ordinary girl. I wonder what you'd look like coming out the other side. Do you have anything of interest? Not really. Okay. That house didn't give us any food except lemons. I mean, lemons are their own victory, really, but we'll just go down this. Go down this way a little bit. We'll do these houses and then we'll go over to the Canes district. To the stone yard and see what we can rummage out of there. Crackers. Nothing there. They don't care if there's nothing in the cupboard, but if there's something in the cupboard, if you even think about stealing the thing in the cupboard, like if you just open it and there's something in there, they'll start freaking out. I don't know why the AI was programmed that way. I'm not really sure what the benefit is. The other question I always had was why the bottles in game, when you just pick them up like that, look so much like plastic bottles, but in the bin they look like glass bottles. Always wondered that. I mean, I know the game is full of anachronisms on purpose in presentation, just to make it seem kind of timeless. I'll take that. One more lockpick never hurts. No one in here. See, they're not bothered. Oh no, so we've got an empty bottle there, but when they're full, they look like plastic bottles. I think that's what confuses me, is why it's not the same 3D model. Imagine someone broke into your place and you come in to find everything spattered around the floor. You're relieved and confused to find that they took nothing whatsoever until you open your pantry. The lemons are gone. Hope is gone. Beautiful. Just the mysterious lemon thief that's been plaguing the town on Gorkon for the last 12 days. Still has not seen their comeuppance. And the threat of the lemon burglar continues. Hello. Any lemons in here? Nope. Let's see what else. Nope. I don't want to get into a fight. I just take whatever's not, in plain view. Come trade with your friend Clara. Nope. Money. No lemons. What is the world coming to? I think I must have the town's entire supply of lemons in my satchel. More food. Seems to be the main thing I need. Just as long as I don't die of the infection before time comes to make the decision. Hello. Got junk you don't need? Let's barter. Nope. Nothing in there. Hello, Frank Lindsay's. How you doing? Tuned in to the very last bit of Changeling. This is how Microsoft established a monopoly on operating systems and computers, literally 1-to-1. They sent a girl into people's houses and just stole. She was just stealing computers and shoving them into her bag. I'd believe it. Right, next one. I love picking the just the door, not even a lock. Just places the lockpick to the door. That's how good she is. She is a master thief. So just let me cough over you. Oh, there's a lemon, but I wonder if he's going to be able to see me. Hang on. Aha. I took the lemon and he didn't see me take it. Neither did this lady for some reason. Okay. Success. You didn't freak out either. Nope. Excuse me. There was nothing to loot in there because there are eyes everywhere. Hello. Nothing. Goodness me. Needle. Anyone looking? Bread. I feel like I've got enough food. Should last me the rest of the time. So now you freak out. I don't know exactly what triggers some of them freaking out and running away. Look, I'm harmless. I'm just taking your lemons. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I have something else to eat. Cool. You're just subsequently freaking out because everyone else is freaking out, huh? Oh, no, you're not even freaking out. Time will tell, Pumpkin. Just... I think... Yeah, this is... look at her go. Olympic training. So weird to know that it's currently just the afternoon for everyone here except me. It's pitch black outside. How is this possible? Time zones are weird. I appreciate you staying up to watch this thrilling climax to the story. Me breaking into people's houses to steal lemons. This is entertainment. Fish. Water bottle. Water, yeah, see? It's so interesting. Water bottle. Clara is just unfazed by people freaking out, and so are the rest of the members of the household. It's just the ladies for some reason who run around screaming. It's only 9 here. East Coasters are all in REM sleep though. Lots of things in here. Fish, knife, meat, bread. Goodness, you guys, quite a stockpile you're keeping from me in here. 3 coins. Hello. No schmouder again. Getting terribly unlucky with this. The sun is hovering over the opposite end of the flat disk we live on, which rests on top of the back of a turtle, right? Or which is just a sandbox that's being played with by a bunch of children. Running out of lockpicks here. Go into one of these big houses. I feel like it might have a good haul. Maybe. I do wonder if the developers thought about the fact that the player would still have lockpicks and could still break into houses at this time. It would be particularly eerie if all the houses were empty, but I suppose it must have been considered because it's a big part of the story, right? Is that everyone's sort of sealed, all the survivors have sealed themselves in their homes and are just waiting for the final decision to be made. The Westerners think that the world is being held up by a titan. The kin know that the world actually lives on a turtle's back. That's right. The truth the media won't tell you. Don't mind me, ma'am. Just rummaging. My reputation can't go much lower before people just start trying to kill me anyway. I feel like he could probably see me getting stuff from there. Don't really need to risk it though. Up one more flight of stairs. Most important things to get at the end of the game. Tourniquet and a rose. Oh, alpha tablets. It's really running out of those. You in here? Just you. I don't know why I'm insisting on picking up the 3 coins. I'm just that much of a completionist. Leave nothing nailed down. The morning of the 12th day has come, and I've been up looting since 2 AM. Today is the final day. You have less than 14 hours to make the right choice. 7,500 people are dead. day 12, in which it becomes possible to do the impossible. Really lovely phrase, which of course is what the game has been building towards this whole time. So we'll wander over to the cathedral for a start, and just confirm what time that opens. And I think otherwise we'll rob a few more houses and then sleep, because after that I don't think there's really anything else to do, unless I wanted to go see, I could go see one of the termites, I guess, and we could hear their spiel. So go to the cathedral, go to Ava's house, sleep for a while, provided the bachelor isn't using his bed, which I don't think he is. Rations. Just nibble on a fish while we wander through the street. Letter. The Haruspex says goodbye. The beakheads say you're the only one to have figured out how the true victory can be achieved. They believe that you alone can prevail. This may well be true. They know things that I don't. What I do know, however, is that they are rotten to their core. I have found my own path to victory, I think. Believe it or not, it is simple, but don't reject it in a hurry. Perhaps this is also the only way for you to save yourself. Barak. So I think that's another good point about Clara's campaign, right, is that you do get the sense that she will be morally stained by what she has to do. That she won't be the same person after she kills these people for the sake of the town. Goodbye, Constance. You came too early. Queens of this chessboard are assembling to decide the fate of what remains of this sorry little town. 7 p.m. Cathedral is closed. Why? Isn't it 7 already? No, not yet. You can take a nap across the street for now. The Crucible is no longer a threat to you. Perhaps you'll even dream of something unusual. I don't think so. Admit it. You'd be glad if I overslept and missed the council, wouldn't you? What does it matter? Do whatever you please. It's not like it will change anything. Go ahead and oversleep. Or die in your sleep as a parting gesture. It's all up to you now. You trying to flatter me? Okay, so yeah, we'll go to Ava's, sleep for a little bit. I do like muscle memory. I can tell you muscle memory is just like guiding me to these bins. Like I'm searching them just on reflex by now. That's just how much the game has programmed me to play it the way that it wants. Alright. Maybe I can sleep on Ava's bed. Yeah. I take just a regular painkiller. Sleep for a little bit. Let us accumulate any letters we're due to receive. One of the first things you get down to rote, along with pressing quick save before conversations. Bachelor says goodbye. A high-flying bird you've become. The executors are watching you, barely able to hide a smile, and I don't like their smirks one bit. Soon enough you're going to see they were not smiling because they were happy for you. Beware, if you may. We were both trapped. Each one of us has suffered a tailor-made deception. They say you are not like me, and this is not something I would argue with. Moreover, I've just found out something utterly ridiculous about myself. Hopefully your fate will not be a reiteration of my own. Be very careful anyway. Self-assurance is your worst enemy. I've learned of at least one way to achieve victory. Perhaps it may work well enough for you. Come see me if you will. Give me the benefit of the doubt, so to speak. DDD. It's a pretty awesome way to sign your name. Dr. Daniil Dankovsky. Is he up here? Yes, he is. Hello. I just received your letter. Kind of awkward, but I was sleeping downstairs.
I'm tired. I've had enough.
Blimey! Look who's here, the Demon Huntress. I hope you've got your stake of aspenwood with you. And silver, lots of it. You're still a slave to your worldview. Indeed, as it happens, I've discovered the meaning of my freedom. Yeah, blimey. Blimey, says the Bachelor. Of course you have, liar. Wasn't there also that... Didn't he also say, like, whoa? Blimey, Clara. Whoa. Indeed, as it happens, I've discovered the meaning of my freedom. Of course you have, liar. So listen how my plot's unfolded. As you probably know, I've been deceived 3 times by people I sincerely trusted. First, the powers that be, then the Inquisitor, and now, finally, I found out what the point of the whole affair is. I'm a plaything, and so, undoubtedly, are you. I know already. So what now? I suppose you'll suggest I leave it to you to decide? Of course. How did you know? What, for your sake? You're a plaything. Of course not. For the town's sake. There are no bachelors and no towns here, blind man. There's just you and I. And you are my past. Meaning that technically there's just me and I. I like this as well. Yeah, we've already played as the Bachelor. You're my past. I've already seen and experienced life through your eyes. And I'm the only actor in this game. I'm the only person currently playing a role. An active role. Well, so it seems anyway at this final turn. Then the I that's me is the better one. No way, Bachelor. Don't rush to conclusions. I'm on the verge of making my final discovery. In a nutshell, I feel I've been imbued with more meaning than is apparent to me. As if anything could be apparent to you. You're a bodily frame devoid of soul and will. You're not capable of understanding a thing at this point. Self-denial is the meaning here. Silly. Blimey. Deny yourself and you win. Yes, that's how it is. That's the essence of my discovery. How banal. Even bordering on trite, don't you think? Isn't that also the essence of your supposed miracle? Assuming, of course, that Ruben described it to me accurately. Blimey, silly. I can make any miracle happen, Bachelor. That is my essence. Really? Then could you please make it so that I show up at the council and present the commander with arguments in favour of the following arrangement. The corrupt town disappears from the face of the earth and the polyhedron stays. It's aseptic and, damn it, it's simply worthy of preserving. What does that require? Not a lot, but not a little either. I'll come to the cathedral on the condition that I'm certain of the survival of the people to whom I'm about to devote my time. Are you willing to help me there? I'll try to do something. How do I know who your bound are? I wrote to you about them the other day, but in case you lost that letter, I'll tell you how to spot them. They all want one thing, that's to preserve the marvellous tower. Nothing else matters to them. Wait for my return. I'm not going to return because I don't have enough schmouder, but it's the thought that counts. And it gives me the wee list there. Blimey. Whoa. Bachelor's got the best lines in this game. He's very erudite, right? Very cultured. Let's go see Artemi. We might as well have that conversation with him. Then we'll run back to the cathedral. Just in the interest of showing everything that Day 12 has to offer. Almost everything, other than the 2 extra endings. But I'm hoping the Haruspex, I'll be able to show that off when I decide to play through it. Now I'm curious. Did the children play out a scene where the Bachelor graduates from university? Or does he just think that he did? Is he even a real fake doctor? I want to see, where's your diploma? I want to see the certificate of graduation, please. Can you send me a transcript? What did you do your PhD on? I suppose thanatology? So many important, fascinating ologies in the world. I also have, not only do I have 39 lemons, I've got 66 bottles of water, 30 needles, 20 razors, and 15 watches. Can you just imagine if there was a character model that accurately represented just Clara like huffing and puffing away over town, just her backpack full of water bottles and just 15 like pocket watches dangling from chains, like rattling around her torso. Amazing. And then on the way back, I could talk to Notkin as well. Oh, it's a really clever way to end the game. This sort of just thinking, traipsing back and forward and thinking really hard about what the best thing for this place is. Weight limit exceeded, 199.8 kg out of 40 kg. She's just, yeah, really... If this was a Bethesda game or whatever, just the you are over encumbered thing would have just been a constant companion on my journey through the game. Hello.
The town can be cleansed. I know how to make enough panacea now.
So, do you still think I'm a demon? It appears that you've been helpful. Without you, Ruben wouldn't have discovered what my calling was. And in the meantime, I've realized what my mission is. Yes, do tell me, please. It's very interesting. How did you wriggle out of that trap? I didn't. I'm a hero. Better to be a trapped hero than a free cripple, isn't it? Oh, really? The Bachelor at least figured out he was a puppet. And I'm not a puppet. Must be because I never figured it out. What else do you plan on surprising me with? Do you really not care? Of course he doesn't look at that wee smile. I'm not a toy, Changeling. I am Artemi Burak, a Haruspex who knows the lines, a warden who has fulfilled his mission and reconciled his father's spirit with the earth, and has made the correct choice. That's who I am. Do you understand? So, you're a believer in salvation through ignorance? That's the Artemi we know. I must admit I'm a bit confused, but it was for the better. It allowed me to escape the iron grip of my preordainment. I'm content with being able to choose with my heart. The creators of this dilemma had limited your choice to 2 options. I'm content with as much regardless. If you give me a chance to choose, you can be sure I'll choose the most humane solution, the most human one. The town will suffer. The town is an instrument. It was made for humans, not the other way around. That's the philosophy I tend to fall on the side of. But you're not human. What makes you think so? I'm as human as they come, and no amount of your insults will change that. Wait, I think I'm beginning to understand you. And now... Yes, now I see you're closer to victory than me. Really? Then I could present the commander with arguments in favour of a proposal that will preserve the town at the cost of destroying the tower. This is a wise arrangement and, as my heart tells me, a lasting one. I'm thinking about the future of my community. What will you need for it? I'll be present at the council if I know for sure that the children Capella has entrusted me with are alive. Then the time I've been meaning to spend making my rounds, I'll instead spend on preparing my evidence. Will you help me with my bound? No, I don't need you at the Cathedral, Burak. Goodbye. And, for people who are listening, the Forbidden Siren 2 video is finally out on Patreon now, and so it'll be out on YouTube at some point next week. So that's something else to look forward to, alongside some playthroughs of Fear and Hunger and a bunch of other horror games I got lined up on my schedule. He has 34 soldiers on his trailer in control of Chile. The game is over. Not Risk. So many bad memories. FOD watchers, click the Patreon link in the description below. This is your handy reminder. Have not watched it yet, but great job. Thanks. Can't they be helped? I'll think of something. Yeah, we'll give Notkin the schmouter. Give it to him.
Where's my cat again? I hope he doesn't escape.
If you didn't take care of me, who would breathe life into our town again? I'll have so many things to do in 5 or 10 years. Thank you, thank you. You think this town is still able to take a new lease of life? Definitely. It won't be easy, of course, but life has to be fought for. Otherwise, it's not real. Do not tear off the umbilical cord that has been feeding all of us since the beginning of time. These things are already going extinct almost everywhere. This connection to what came before your town's own history, right? That's what they're talking about. Is it really worth the effort to do your best for the sake of such a wretched place? What about my friends? I won't be able to do anything without them. Are they alive? Is it possible to visit them already? I don't know. I wanted to take care only of you. Cool. So if we shuffle back to Ava's, we will sleep. we will go to the cathedral, we will see the end of the game, and that will be that for Changeling's playthrough. So yeah, next up, so in about a month's time maybe, I'll try and start, I'm thinking I'm going to start Haruspex and Classic HD, just because why not complete the playthroughs, and then after that I'll move on to Pathologic 2. And maybe by that time Bachelor will also be out in Pathologic 2. That would be pretty cool to be able to play it through on stream and react to it as it comes. Would be pretty cool. And then otherwise, yeah, I've got Termina that I want to finish. I got Forbidden Siren 2 I want to keep playing on stream. What else? Oh, there's a game very similar to PT. Basically, one developer's sort of PT-like. Like, what if PT was a full-length horror game called Infliction? I wanted to play that as well. I've not played that before. I wanted to at least give it a go. And then a bunch of other horror games sort of lined up later on, including Silent Hill Homecoming. I know there's a little bit of interest in that. I think that would be good to play, particularly to examine alongside Silent Hill Origins, which of course is the weakest Silent Hill game I've yet played through on stream. It's been a long time since I played through Homecoming more generally, so there may be things I've forgotten about it. I think it will be an interesting experiment. Okay, so have something to eat again, and take another one of these. Sleep, and then down we will go to the cathedral. Walk to the end feels very final in Pathologic, particularly for Clara. You look over everything anew and march to the finish line knowing that you've seen everything the town can offer you now. Yes, I think there's something appropriately quite humbling about that. Very, very final. Except for the lemon maxing any percent, of course, that I haven't done. Well, not many people have, yeah. No, something very special, I think, about walking into the cathedral for your last time. Of course, it hasn't quite sunk in yet because I've still got another playthrough ahead of me of this game on stream, but I think when we hit the end is out to me, I think there will be something quite profound about tying the bow on what will probably be about 60 hours of playthrough, about 60 hours of recorded footage, possibly longer than that, 60, 70 hours. Be the game I've devoted the most time to streaming, which of course is very appropriate given it's my favourite game, but it'll be the end of an era, but it's not quite the end of an era, just the end of High Clara, maybe. Unlock the door for me. Come, Changeling, the Assembly is awaiting your decision. The queens of this chessboard are in a deadlock. They have each other pinned down. The game may very well end in a tragic stalemate. You're the promoted pawn, and it's the end game. Go and finish it. I know, you didn't have to bother explaining. Dramatic close-ups. Inquisitor will not be happy with what I decide. I do like the clenching of the fist there. In we come. Hi, Clara. Bold as brass. There I am. I'm just gonna double check. I know Ava's upstairs in Bachelor's, but I can't remember if anyone's upstairs in Clara's. I'm just gonna double check that. I don't think so, but yeah, no, just Bachelor, so that's cool. Just don't want to miss out on any conversation. Back down the windy staircase we go. Ooh. Inquisitor.
It will be as you choose.
You have no business being here, Changeling. You shouldn't have come here. You've been doing just fine without you. I'm sure you have. I feel sorry for you, Aglaya Lilac. You are an instrument of the law. At least keep that in mind, now that you've chanced to be able to make the choice here. Don't try to be something greater than you are. That's the best you could do in your position. You're wrong, Aglaya Lilac. I could do a lot in my position. You want to settle scores with me? Is that it? I haven't observed any logic in your words and actions, Aglaya. If I was an instrument of the law, why did you banish me? Because you had yielded to a temptation. You had embarked on a perverse course of action to preserve this outrageous synthesis, which is nothing but a death machine, and to add more deaths to the tally for the sake of its preservation. Your words had also led astray the bachelor and the Haruspex, to whom I had taken such pains to explain the real state of affairs. Really? I didn't know that. Well, enough idle blather. Since you've already turned up and made a farce out of this council, decide quickly and let's be done with it. I'm not going to hear anything worthwhile here. What, are you jealous? You do realize you're not the center of the universe, I hope. Hello, me.
You've changed. Or am I imagining things?
Hi, Clara. It's good that you found me here and approached me. Now you'll have to perform the sacrament for which for which you, Changeling, thief, saint, sandpest, envoy of the law, and harbinger, came into this world. Are you ready? Who am I, sister? That is exactly what's about to be ascertained. And you're the only one who can ascertain it. That's the essence of the sacrament. Look at the smile there. By establishing the present, you will establish the past. She is so happy. With that which is yet to be done, you will establish that which has seemed to have been done beforehand. It has only worked the opposite way before. Is it true that I'm an instrument of the law? There really is an envoy of the law in this town, and it's one of the new arrivals. Is it perhaps the bachelor or the Haruspex? It's evident that both of them are destroyers. Each of them has already accepted the inevitable. But could it be you? It would make things that much worse. How do we find out then? We can't. We can only make it happen. How can I know something that hasn't been done yet? I'm not omnipotent. Are you the plague? Speak. I do exist, sister, but in a transient way. For now, you are still the disease, and I'm the persecuted saint. The problem is, there's no me yet. I'm a figment of your imagination, a consequence of a lie you told. And yet how wonderful that lie itself turned out to be. Theft had made a miracle possible. The Inquisitor insists that miracles and me are mutually exclusive. I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. Aglaya doesn't tell the whole truth. From her point of view, there are no such things as miracles. It's just the way she was made. But we, not Simon, are living proof of the contrary. You have a chance to preserve things as they are. You can do what others can't. They're impeded by enmities and hatred. Who's enemies with whom, sister? The Inquisitor and the Commander, the Haruspex and the Bachelor, and then more conflict across these lines. All of them are bent on destroying what they detest. If you want to perform a miracle, remove the threat to each of the town's organs. So, of course, this is what it's been building up to, right? So Changeling told a lie about her sister. That lie became real. The narrative, the town makes these sort of narratives real. Again, Pathologic being a meta commentary on the nature of narrative itself and the stories we tell. And then at the end here, we have this explanation basically of why in Clara's story the Haruspex and the Bachelor are at each other's throats. It's because that's what Clara's story is about these binaries, these models that exist to destroy one another. And Clara's story is about putting an end to these models, creating this synthesis and making something new out of it, which is basically what Clara's explaining here. Whether you believe in it or not, that's the model of the universe that the story is presenting. Enough! Who am I? Speak! You are free to choose your own fate. Now is your time to decide who you've been all along. It is only from the law's perspective that you're the disease. But you don't recognize the law. You're a thief. You'll escape the law by stealing for yourself the path of a miracle worker. You'll defeat it by performing a genuine miracle. And you? What's going to happen to you? I'll accept the destiny you'll have rejected, and then I'll vanish at once, because I don't belong on this earth. Go, sister. Make your choice. Do not tarry. I'll come back to you yet. The concept of Clara's story is by far my favourite. Personally, I don't know if the story as we experience it is my favorite of the three. It's incredibly unique. That's the right way to describe it. The way that the narrative is presented, with all the themes bundled in with the gameplay, but the way that her story differentiates from the other two characters as well is incredibly important and makes clear the oppositional binaries of the town itself, the head pulling away from the body, or vice versa, and her trying to reconcile irreconcilable viewpoints. I think it's just really fiendishly clever, and it's a shame it's not the most well presented story, like, at times, or it's a story that people sort of forget about, or the developers didn't have enough time to flesh out the side missions for, and so on. And some of the conversations, you sort of wish there were more conversations with her bound, that you just don't get to have, but nonetheless, still a fascinating, really well-written story. Lots to say about it. Well then, let us commence. I'm going to ask you formally in order to get this over with quicker. One word from you and it happens. So you're positive that it was neither greed nor plotting nor circumstance that has informed your choice, but your conscience alone. I have been given orders to level everything here, but if this isn't necessary, I'll trust you on it. My trust for you is infinite. There's no need to destroy anything. We can do it all together without gunfire and preserve this world as it is, even though many think it impossible. Good. Do you know a way to preserve this town? Yes, I'm restoring the chain of creation. I'm giving Simon back to this town. I'm closing the chain. I hereby declare that from now on, only goodwill, love, and dedication shall, time and time again, be the safeguards of this tiny world's existence. Would you like to know how I'm going to do it? So, preserving childhood memory, basically, this impossible dream, through goodwill, love, and dedication. I hereby announce that the choice has been made. The council is dismissed. The choice has been made. Now everything's been resolved. Why? What for? What is the reasoning behind this ludicrous decision? Didn't I explain everything to you? The strings were given to you. You only needed to pull. Did you act on a whim, or was your decision a well-calculated conclusion? I find it hard to believe you were driven by vengeance alone. No, this is not how it was. I think I understand now. You know you were going to leave us before long, so you renounce your chance to perform a miracle and assume the mantle of the law. You hold our mutual enemy to your breast and dive headfirst into the chasm. Is this your attempt to dismiss the inevitable? There is still hope, however, for even though you will leave, I will stay. I will remain here to keep the fate that you have rejected. Isn't that so? No, don't answer me. Just remember I will always remain by your side. And I will be waiting. So the other Clara writing us a message. We'll wander back down the street. So the other Clara will continue to exist. In a sense, she will take our place. And we will be the one who vanishes. It really is, living up to the name Changeling, that we are creating the mantelpiece for the character to sit on. We're establishing the bounds of her existence for the rest of time, and then we will leave without seeing what that existence looks like. There must always be a Clara. Yeah, exactly. Children playing forever. Eternal childhood happiness. And the children's play area remains whole. But of course, in order to realize that dream, all of these people, all these characters must sacrifice their lives in service of the sandbox, in service of the sand plague. And as is appropriate, they lay lemons around the town, a cap on what I think has been a very successful playthrough. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this weird and wonderful journey through Changeling's wonderful campaign. I've really been turned around on my opinion on it. Really loved it, even more than I did the first time. A lot of interesting stuff to talk about, and there'll probably be more for me to digest that I might talk about in the Haruspex's playthrough. There'll always be more, really, to talk about in this wonderful game, but for now, thank you for watching, and I will see everyone next week. Thank you.